Hello everybody, how is it going? Now I've covered this topic many a time and I like covering this one because I feel so passionate about it. And the topic is that how us human beings control our own emotional destiny. We are the captain of our own emotional ship. And it's very important to remember that. Why is it important to remember that when it comes to OCD? Because quite often, what we can do, not in just OCD, but also in life as well, is that we can look to blame external events, we can look to blame other people, and we can look to blame the past for why we are feeling the way we feel today. And this was something that I was stuck with for so long. I didn't understand how it was my perspectives, it was my belief systems, it was how I was choosing to view something which was fueling my own emotional despair. The reason I was emotionally disturbed, the reason I was in mental turmoil with guilt, shame, depression, panic, chronic anxiety pumping away 24/7 was because of my own faulty perspectives, my own faulty, misfired belief systems. It was down to me. It was how I was viewing things. And what I tell people as a coach, and I'm very direct and straight to the point, not in a cold-hearted or heartless way at all, because I have total sympathy and total understanding as to how hard it is dealing with emotional trouble. I completely get that. I've been through that myself through lived experience. But the reason I am very direct is because our focus here is not only to get you feeling better, we want to get you better so therefore you stay better. So you have a sustained mental health, a good, stable, solid emotional well-being. And you won't get that with wishy-washy distraction techniques, sorts of thoughts, fluffy, soft techniques of just feeling better now, looking into the past, replaying the past, going over how somebody treated you unfairly and saying how unfair it was and getting really enraged by that and getting really angry by the past. Maybe you felt like you were treated inconsiderately when you were younger, or maybe by a boss, or maybe by an ex-partner, or whatever it may be. And it's easy to get enraged by that and reenact it and go back to and stoke up the fire and ignite the fire with the anger and the frustration in whatever it is that's disturbing you. I'm just using an example here, but whatever it is that's disturbing you, it's easy just to replay that imagined event, whether that's a future event, whether it's dwelling on something now, whether it's getting bogged down by something that happened to you that you strongly don't like, and just sort of replaying it and analysing it and so on. It's easy to do that. And quite often you can feel better when you replay something and try and take a look at it. So as an example, let's say you are locked on with this event in the past that you can't seem to get over. Now, when you look at it and replay it and analyse it and try and solve it, in the short run, that can sometimes make you feel better because you might go, yeah, that person treated me wrongly and how dare they? And you might feel quite triumphant with your anger towards them. Or maybe you have a fear that you've done wrong and you're sort of replaying it and you feel like you've got some kind of relief and certainty on it and you feel relieved and you feel like, right, okay, I've figured it out now, I can now get relief. And this is where OCD comes in, because OCD being the doubting disorder, you then doubt the event, you then doubt your ways of replaying it and said, oh no, wait, what as if this actually happened? But wait, what as if this happened and that didn't happen? You start doubting everything that you've replayed around this past event. And that will continue for a lifetime, to be honest with you, if you just take the psychoanalytic approach of just replaying the past, delving into the past, saying how awful the past is, and just constantly focusing on this thing that's disturbing you. You'll just stay in the past. I can't word that any differently. You will stay fixated on the past. You won't think about your present philosophies. And this is where I am ultra passionate about, because I often say to people very directly, is that you are disturbing yourself today with your current philosophies, your current actions, your avoidance behaviors, your compulsions, your instant gratification behaviors, your current life structural behaviors, you are currently fueling your emotional disturbance today with your present philosophies. It's not the past. It's not this thing that you're scared of. It's not this activating adversity. It's not this activating experience that's causing your disturbance today. It's not that. That contributes. It plays a part. It's an influential factor to your emotional demise. It's instrumental to how you feel. It plays a part. But what is disturbing you? What is disturbing you is your belief systems. It's how you're viewing it. Okay, and it's so important to remember, because you've got to remember that you want to be putting the ball in your court, and you want to be controlling your emotional fate. You want to be in charge of your emotional fate, and you don't do that if you blame external events, blaming other people, damning other people, saying, oh no, it's their fault. It's just, they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have treated me inconsiderately. They shouldn't have treated me so unjustly. They should have treated me fairly. Oh, I should have done better. I shouldn't have done wrong. I shouldn't have made a mistake. I shouldn't have acted immorally. Life shouldn't have these unkind conditions. Life shouldn't be this unfair. It's terrible that the fact it is this unfair, and I can't stand the fact that person's treated me like this, and I am a total, awful, evil person if I have done wrong. You know, all those belief systems are fueling this disturbed cycle today. Now, it's important to remember that it's not solely your beliefs and that's it that fuel your happiness or your contentment. Of course, external events will play a part. And there's a quote, I've completely forgotten who says this, but they say that if you truly think that happiness comes from within, try and be in a snow blizzard in 36 hours in really difficult temperatures and tell me how you can be happy. So what I'm saying there is that it's not just solely from within and that's it, but in regards to the disturbance, so for example, let's say you're going through physical pain, you could say, well, that pain makes me feel depressed. And I would say, well, yeah, but that pain contributes to how you feel. But what's really prolonging the depression and the anxiety and making that pain 10 times worse is because you are saying it's awful that I have this pain in my leg and that I shouldn't be having this pain in my leg and I can't stand it anymore and I can't possibly bear it. It's the belief which adds fuel to the physical pain that you are currently experiencing. Now, in regards to the happiness quote, what I just said then, how it's not just a total inside job, because obviously external events can affect us. Like I said, walking through a snow blizzard at life-threatening temperatures for 36 hours in just your underpants, you're not really going to be happy, right? But what you've got to realise is, obviously that's an extreme example. What I'm saying is that you want to be striving for long-range pursuits, short-term enjoyment, yes, but long-term pursuits as well, which are most likely going to increase your chances of happiness. But like I did a video the other day around, you're not chasing perfect happiness, you're trying to strive to not be desperately unhappy, right? And this is where the belief systems come in. So just the example that I used with the snow blizzard, it's not a total inside job and that's it. You know, you're not trying to become delusional here. There will be external events which impact how you feel and how content you are and so on. But the main driving force is your belief systems and your perspective software. That's what I'm going to call it. Your perspective programming software. And those perspectives can be changed, they can be adjusted, they can be dissected, they can be looked at, they can be moved to a different perspective through different gratitude exercises, looking at people worse off than you, looking at people that are going through some real hardships and some real injustices and just some real, just hassles and struggles in life. You know, a good example is looking back in history, seeing people that have gone through some real struggle in wars and in Holocaust, for example, looking at the movies there. We talk about The Pianist and Schindler's List. Those are two movies on our film list which really help you change your perspective on life suffering, looking at people that are worse off in regards to physical health, people that are struggling with terminal illness such as cancer, people dying at a young age, people who have had their whole village wiped out due to a natural disaster, and so on. So look, just looking at something like that isn't going to just make all your anxiety go away, but it certainly helps change your perspective on suffering and so on. Okay, so it's very important to remember that you control your emotional destiny. And until you realize that, it's going to be a lifetime of blame, damning other people, damning yourself, moaning about unkind conditions of the world, whining, complaining, victimizing, saying it's so unfair, why me, why me, why me. Now, life is incredibly hard. Life is full of hassle, it's full of struggle, it's full of pain, it's full of suffering, okay? But it's also full of pleasure, satisfaction, enjoyment, if you actively seek it, if you put plans in place to pursue pleasure and happiness and enjoyment and contentment by doing, indulging in pursuits and long-term hobbies, things that really make you get out of bed in the morning to distract you from serious woes. But you've really got to take a look at how your belief system is playing a huge part in how you are feeling and how that links into OCD. With OCD, you will have to really take a look at your belief systems, because OCD is taking its marching orders from your beliefs and your perspectives, and ultimately how you're reinforcing those irrational, crooked thinking with your behaviors. How your life structure plays a big part in that as well. If you're avoiding, if you're putting things off, if you've got a low frustration tolerance, if you're constantly whining, if you're constantly moaning, and being super irritable towards other people, that will all play a part in this one big picture of suffering. Okay, so to get better, it isn't easy. It will take a lot of hard work and a lot of practice. And what can often happen is that when people look at the amount of work required to get better, that can often be quite off-putting, and they say, no, I'm not going to go through that. So they actually choose to remain depressed or upset or anxious or hurt or panicked, and I just don't think that's wise. I'd much rather you take the risk of getting better, feel the discomfort, and you can really get your life on your terms, and you can be the captain of your own emotional ship, and you can really control your own emotional destiny. Put the ball in your court and turn the tide against emotional despair by being accountable for your mental health, by taking a look, dissecting your belief system, and opting for a more rational, flexible, healthier philosophy towards yourself, other people, and life. And we will help you with that in one-to-one sessions. If you email phil@ocdrecovery.com or message the WhatsApp number in the description of this video, and you get in touch with me. My name's Sam, or any of the other coaches here. You've got Rob, Nick, Momin, Gemma, and Elliot, and we can certainly help you adopt better ways of thinking, which give you a greater chance to strive for better emotional health. Guys, take care. Great speaking to you all, and look after yourself.